Spread throughout the town of Powassan sit many statuesque brick homes which have withstood the test of time. These buildings have served as homes for some of the most notable figures within the town of Powassan's history. One of the most well-known homes in the town of Powassan is the Clark House, and it was home to William Faulkner Clark, a pioneer within the town of Powassan. This house was constructed in 1886, mostly by renowned local architect Edward Tops. The looks and features of the original building have been virtually unchanged since its construction. Even after Clark died in 1927, the house's new owners focused on preserving the historic architecture in the home. It has 7 bedrooms which house Clark's family, as well as visitors or new people to the town of Powassan who needed a place to stay, as homes were far and few between in those times. In 1993, the Powassan Historical Society acquired the property and turned it into a museum for the town of Powassan's history. The museum has since been closed down, but the artifacts inside were dispersed amongst members of the society. Now, why was Clark so well known? Well, he owned the entire west half of the town when it was split in half by Main Street in 1886. So whenever anyone in Powassan wanted to purchase property, they had to purchase it directly from him first. Although this house is vacant right now, the stories within its walls of a blossoming Powassan will last in people's memories forever. This large establishment has seen significant changes over the years as it sat on the corner of Main Street and Memorial Park Drive. The first records of this home being built predate 1894, when the property was sold for $4,000, even though the average property selling price for that time was only $50. The building originally housed 2 lines of Porter families, but when Fred Beckler Sr. and his family moved in, the building became commonly known as the Beckler House. Eventually, the Becklers moved out, and the main floor was taken over in the 1970s by the Helenskys, who operated a pharmacy out of the home. Glenn's Pharmacy took over the main floor of the building in the 1990s and closed its doors in the late 2000s to open a brand new building right next door. While Glenn's Pharmacy was in business, the Beckler House still housed apartments in the upstairs part, and there are still apartments there today, and the bottom spaces are 2 rentable retail units. These houses next to each other are known as the Porter family houses. James Porter moved to Powassan in 1888 with his wife Eliza to take ownership of the Dunkin' store on this street corner, which is now the present-day Hummingbird at Main and King Bar and Restaurant. James Porter's son, Dr. James Porter II, is thought to have preceded his parents in moving to Powassan by quite a few years, and he moved into this 10-room house on the right. He used the entrance on King Street as his home entrance, but the side entrance, which is on Armstrong Avenue, was used as his business entrance for his doctor's office. The doctor's house on the right was used as a bed and breakfast for about 5 years or so, and it was called the Sparrow's Nest. Now, the home is currently owned by Chairwoman of the Library Board, Tina Martin. As you can see, the features in this house have been virtually unchanged, and have been preserved by its owners to maintain the most historic accuracy. The house next door, which used to belong to Dr. James Porter's father, is a very large and beautiful one. Apparently, the home was divided up into 3 separate apartments, although the building is currently vacant. The people who have lived in these homes have provided great services to the town of Powassan and area over their lifetimes. Built in 1908 by Edward Tops, this home has kept its appearance for years. It was originally built for A.L. Perkins and his wife Lila Maud. He was the owner of Perkins & Co., a general store on the corner of Main Street and Memorial Park Drive. Originally, this home had a terraced lawn which took up the whole corner of this block. It also housed its own private tennis court. Later on, the terrace lawn was divided into smaller lots for people to build houses on. This home had 4 fireplaces, magnificent oak columns, and woodwork, much of which is still in the house today. This building has housed so many large families, including that of J.B. Lake, the editor and publisher of the Old Powassan newspaper. Although some renovations on the interior have been done, the new owners are working to preserve as much of the historic background of this home as they possibly can. Now, as previously mentioned, Edward Topps was a prominent builder within the town of Powassan, and I'm going to take some time to reflect upon him. Born and trained in England, Topps was a master carpenter who has overseen the building of some of the most prominent historic locations in Powassan's history. He died, unfortunately, in 1921, but before his death, he had built, just to name a few buildings, this home, the Porter family houses, the Clark House, St. Mary's Anglican Church, Porter's store, the Scarletts and Cox's store, and so many more places in and around the Powassan area. He did all of his work while residing in Chisholm, which begins about 10 kilometers east of Powassan. In this time period, Chisholm had the odd home and it was surrounded by dense forest. People had to travel through the bush on trails, mostly by foot at the time, or by horse and buggy. So that's one heck of a commute for him to make. The reason why he built some of the most statuesque homes in Powassan, which still stand today, is because Powassan had its own brickyard, which was a rarity in the time period. His work has stood the test of time, and the beauty of his builds will last into the future. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to learn more on the history of Powassan, check out powassanlibrary.com for more information and to check out our other videos.